Ever walked out on a bitter winter morning, opened the coop door, and wondered if your chickens are thinking, why do we live here again? Winter doesn't have to slow your flock down. If you set up a few smart systems, your birds can stay warm, keep laying longer, and make it through the cold season healthier than you'd expect. And no, this isn't about turning your coop into a sauna. It's about mastering the real winter equation: dry air, low drafts, steady calories, clean water, and calm routines. So if you want fewer frozen eggs, fewer mystery sniffles, and a flock that greets you like it's just another normal day, keep listening, because the biggest winter mistake most chicken keepers make is coming up in a minute. The winter rule nobody expects. Let's start with the truth that sounds wrong the first time you hear it. Chickens handle cold better than they handle damp. A bird with dry feathers, a dry coop, and decent shelter can tolerate surprisingly low temperatures, but add moisture, wet bedding, humid air, condensation on the walls, and suddenly you're inviting frostbite, respiratory problems, and stress that ripples through the whole flock. So keep that hook in your mind. Winter is manageable, and the way you beat winter is by beating moisture first. Drafts versus ventilation and why people mix them up. Here's the mistake I promised. People seal the coop up tight to keep heat in. It feels logical. It also quietly turns the coop into a moisture trap. Chickens breathe out humidity all night. Their droppings release ammonia. If that air can't escape, it condenses on combs, toes, and bedding. Then the coop feels warmer, but your flock is actually at higher risk. So you want ventilation up high, where warm, moist air rises and exits, while keeping drafts off the roost. Drafts are cold wind hitting birds directly. Ventilation is gentle air exchange that keeps the coop dry. If you remember just one thing, remember this: cold air is not the enemy. Wet, stale air is. Make the coop dry warm, not hot warm. Chickens don't need a heated palace. They need a space that stays dry, blocks wind, and lets them rest without fighting the elements. Think of it like this: a good winter coop feels like stepping into a garage, cool, still, and dry, not like stepping into a bathroom after a hot shower. Check for these winter essentials: a roof that doesn't drip or sweat, no wind blasting through cracks at perch height, then openings above head level on the roost, bedding that stays fluffy, not packed and wet. And here's a little retention hook. In a few sections, we'll talk about the one cozy upgrade that helps chickens warm themselves without you spending money on heaters. The roost is the real bed. In winter, the roost is everything. That's where chickens spend hour after hour generating heat and conserving energy. A winter-friendly roost does two things. It lets chickens sit with feet covered by feathers while sleeping, and it keeps them away from cold, damp floor air. A wider, flatter roost, something that allows the foot to rest more naturally, often helps birds cover their toes with their body feathers while sleeping, and that matters because frostbite loves exposed tips, comb points, wattles, and toes. Keep the roost higher than the nest boxes so nobody decides the nest box is a sleeping spot. Winter poop in nest boxes is how you get filthy eggs, and eggs that freeze faster. Bedding, the hidden heater you already own. Remember that cozy upgrade without a heater? It's bedding when it's done right. Dry bedding acts like insulation. It also helps manage moisture and odor. The goal isn't to create a perfect smelling coop. The goal is to keep bedding from turning into a wet sponge. Choose bedding that stays airy and absorbent, then keep it dry by topping it up before it gets saturated. If you walk in and smell strong ammonia, that's not just unpleasant, it's your early warning sign that your bird's lungs are taking a hit. Here's another hook to keep you listening. The winter water strategy is where most flocks struggle, and it's coming next. Water, the quickest way winter goes sideways. Chickens can survive a cold night. They can't thrive if they're half dehydrated every day because water keeps freezing. And dehydration sneaks up fast in winter because birds don't always act thirsty. The result can be reduced laying, lethargy, constipation, and a flock that just seems off. Your mission is simple. Make liquid water available all day, every day. A few practical principles. Use a waterer that's easy to refresh often. Keep it clean. Winter mud and bedding bits still happen. Place it where it won't get kicked full of litter. Check it early and again later in the day because it was fine this morning doesn't help at noon. If your winters are harsh, build your routine around water first, feed second, everything else third, because in winter, water is the bottleneck that limits the whole flock. Feeding for heat. Calories are winter fuel. Chickens create heat by metabolizing food, so when temperatures drop, your flock usually needs more energy, especially if they're spending time outside. Give them consistent access to a balanced layer feed if they're laying, or an appropriate maintenance feed if they're not. Then think about timing. A satisfying evening meal can help them go to roost with full crops, slowly digesting through the night. And yes, this is where people love to throw in treats. Treats can be useful, but don't turn them into the main plan. A smart winter approach. Keep the core diet consistent. Use scratch grains as an occasional cold day boost, ideally later in the day. Avoid overloading treats that dilute nutrition. Here's the retention twist. The most dangerous winter treat isn't candy or bread, it's something that seems healthy. We'll hit that in a moment. The treat trap nobody talks about. When it's cold, it's tempting to offer anything warm or extra, but winter is also when nutrition gaps show up fastest. The healthy trap is giving too many low-protein fillers, like a lot of kitchen scraps, when birds actually need a steady, balanced intake. Scraps aren't evil, but they're unpredictable. If your flock fills up on scraps and scratches, they may not eat enough of their complete feed. So here's the rule. Treats should be a bonus, not a replacement. If you want a simple checkpoint, watch the feeder. If the feeder stays full but your birds beg for snacks, you're training their preferences instead of meeting their needs. Light and laying. The winter reality check. A lot of people hit winter and panic when eggs slow down, but most of the time, it's not the cold, it's the daylight. As days shorten, many hens naturally reduce laying. Their bodies prioritize survival and feather maintenance over producing eggs. That's normal. You can support winter laying by reducing stress, keeping water available, and feeding well. But expecting peak production in the darkest months sets you up for disappointment. Here's a hook inside this segment. If you want fewer broken or frozen eggs, your nesting setup matters more than you think. Nesting boxes that don't freeze your eggs. Winter eggs have two big enemies, time and temperature. If eggs sit too long in a cold nest box, they can freeze and cracked eggs quickly become a habit-forming snack if chickens discover them. Make nesting inviting and practical. Keep nest bedding clean and generous. Collect eggs more often in deep winter. Block drafts that hit nest level, and keep nest boxes in the driest area of the coop. And if you notice eggs freezing regularly, don't just blame the weather. Adjust your routine, because egg collection timing is one of the few winter variables you fully control. Frostbite. Prevent it before you see it. Frostbite usually shows up on comb tips and wattles first. People often assume it's purely about cold, but it's mostly about moisture and wind. Prevention is a three-part system. Keep coop air dry with proper ventilation. Keep drafts off the roost. Keep birds dry, especially after wet snow or sloppy runs. If you see pale tips, darkened spots, or swelling, treat it seriously. The best cure is early prevention because once tissue is damaged, you can't rewind time. You can only support healing and prevent it from getting worse. Dust baths in winter. Chickens don't just dust bathe for fun. It's part of how they manage oil, skin irritation, and parasites. In winter, wet ground and snow can take that away. If your birds can't dust bathe for weeks, they can get itchy and stressed, which can spiral into pecking issues. A covered, dry dust bath area filled with dry material gives them a slice of normal behavior when everything else feels different. It's like handing them a little piece of summer, even when the world is frozen. Snow, mud, and the wet feather problem. Chickens don't love deep snow. Some tolerate it, many refuse it, and a few look personally offended by it. The bigger issue is what happens when snow melts into mud, or when birds step through slush and then stand around with damp feet and feathers. Wet plus cold is where trouble starts. Create dry zones. Use straw or other ground cover in high traffic areas. Provide a covered run section if you can. Keep the coop entrance area dry so birds aren't tracking moisture inside. If your birds come in wet, your coop's moisture management has to work twice as hard, so preventing wetness outside is part of keeping the coop dry inside. The don't panic temperature mindset. It's easy to obsess over the thermometer, but chickens care more about conditions than numbers. A stable, dry coop at -10 degrees Celsius can be safer than a damp, sealed coop at 2 degrees Celsius. That's not intuitive, but it's real. Focus on what you can control. Dry bedding, clean water, good airflow without roost-level drafts, enough food and space, calm flock dynamics. If you nail those, your birds can handle more cold than you think. Keep in mind, your flock will tell you the truth. The signs are subtle, but they're consistent. The cold night routine that changes everything. Let's bring it home with a routine that makes winter feel less like a battle. Before night, make sure water is liquid and clean, ensure bedding is dry and fluffed, confirm vents are open up high and drafts are blocked down low. Offer a steady, filling evening feed routine. In the morning, check water first, do a quick visual health scan, combs, posture, breathing. Remove anything wet before it contaminates the whole coop. And remember the hook we started with. Winter doesn't have to slow your flock down. When you prioritize dryness, airflow, and fuel, your chickens stop merely surviving winter and start acting like they own the place.